Greetings, gamers, and welcome to the 178th live stream from the Misfit Gamers Studios. I'm your host, Vortex, and this is D&D Discussions. Yes, we are in the Misfit Gamers Tavern, but not to worry, this is D&D Discussions as usually planned, and we are going to be doing a homebrew review. Today, we actually have Frost Moths, both the regular Frost Moth and the Queen Frost Moth, submitted to us by Hecate. So we're really interested to see what these are. I'm really curious to see the two levels of this creature and to see if this has anything to do or any kind of relation with the Mothkin that we saw last week. I know they're two different creators, but it would be kind of funny to see if there was any crossover with the creativity. So join us today as we figure out what is going on with the Frost Moth. Let's go. What's up?
Shalom, shalom, my friends. How's everybody doing?
Starting with regular Frost Moth. There we go. Hope everyone's doing well.
No, I'm excited for this. So as I was finishing all of my conversions and whatnot, it definitely gave me the vibes like ant colony or bee colony. You know, you got your worker bees and then you got your queen bee. You got your worker ants and you got your queen ant. And so this looks like you got your worker moth and then you got your queen moth type deal. So
right, that's honestly kind of how it feels, to be honest.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we do with this. But yeah.
Where is all my other ones? Oh, my Twitch gotta be weird.
Twitch, why you tripping? Why you tripping, Twitch? Oh, righty.
Oh, there we are. I don't know why they're over here.
But yeah, it is quite exciting. So no, it's kind of a vibe streaming in here again. Like I was,
yeah, it's
like
a change up.
I was telling Vortex, I'm like, it's nice to have like a table for my computer instead of my lap, even though it is a laptop. So you know, kind of fitting the name there. But still, no, it's all right over here. You know, we got different lighting. It's the whole nine.
Yeah. I like it. It's I don't know. Maybe one day we'll make a permanent change if the tavern gets, fully equipped with everything that we need.
Sure.
I could see us potentially having that. Are we spiking? Maybe we're spiking a little bit too much. I think.
I don't know. What do you think, Nugget? Are we?
I think it's a little bit loud. Let me adjust this. Filter should just.
Filter.
All right. So we'll take that. Okay, that's a little bit better, and then we will take that down just a notch. So yeah. Okay, that's a little bit better. Yeah, that shouldn't be too loud now. At least it's smoothly picking us up, and we're not like super spiking out.
Wow. All right.
All right. Well, we have everything loaded up. I don't know if we have Hecate in chat. We can wait.
I did not see Hecate online last time I checked. Yeah, it looks like they're offline today.
That's all right. They will always have the VOD if needed.
That's very fair. But
so yeah, let's go through a couple. Let's see. Do we have any updates? June community stream or May community stream is now over.
Just finished it.
That was
did great. Had a really good time. If you guys weren't here, you got to see my lovely lady Creme Brulee come join us for a quick game
that
of
was super nice. I'm so happy that she was able to join with us.
Yeah, and we learned how disrespectful the game Mealborn can be, especially when only Vortex gets the greatest card in the entire game.
I mean, I know what I'm doing.
Apparently he learned the heart of the cards real quick, friends. So
I'm just saying, like, who
we'll
shuffled?
See. It wasn't just me, okay? Every time, no matter who shuffled, me, him, Vixie, it was wild. It was wild.
Everyone just wanted me to win. That's all.
Yes,
I was cheating.
Goodness
Nugget
gracious.
said I was cheating.
Well,
I mean, I did, how house advantage. How about that?
Exactly.
It's my place, so I get house advantage. Chat.
Who was I talking to? One of the kids at the community center was talking about running through all of the Studio Ghibli films, and they just finished watching like Howl's Moving Castle, and like I just imagine like this place is your moving castle. Like it does all the things you want it to do.
Right? It just knows.
It's like nah, we're gonna put that card right there so Vortex gets it. Wow, though.
That's all right. But yeah, so we have a couple reviews today. We have a pair. We're gonna technically that they were submitted. Hecate, what's going on?
Hey,
yeah. So these were technically submitted as two different ones, but I think over the course of the last couple months that we've been talking about them, knowing that they were going to come up, I think the idea was that we eventually realized it would be best to tackle these together.
I feel like it makes the most sense because
they do feel like a build upon each other, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like if we were to review them differently, they would get a different score. It's almost like they're almost not the same creature as each other, but it's almost they parallel so well that it would make sense that they are a unit, right? You know, imagine it's like an ant colony or a bee colony or whatever the case may be. So
Right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Hecate, but that's what it felt like when I was trying to put everything together. There will be a short little snippet and description for each one of these before we begin. So, I feel like it'll work out. It'll work out.
It'll be good. All right, and Hecate agrees. It is. So,
Okay.
Awesome.
666.
So this will be so as before when we've done like groups like this, they will be read through. We'll read through both of them, and then as a pair, they will get a combined score. The combined compatibility score for High Point. But we will be going over both of them and individually giving our critiques. But at the end of the day, they will be judged as a pair to go together instead of two separate ones. And that's just to make it fair, so we don't play favorites. And until we decide to do more than one review in a day, this is the way that we can get away with it without making it feel like we're playing favorites or not living up to the things that we said.
No, I think it works. I think it makes the most sense for sure.
I do as well. Okay, so we'll give it a few more minutes to make sure anybody else who wants to show up for this. I don't think we have any other updates though. I think we are update free as of this point.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff we've been talking about, unless how close are we to getting our June community stream?
I don't know. No one gave to it today, so we don't know.
That's fair. Soul's not here to feed the beast.
Nope. He ran out of points. Soul got no more points.
Wow. See, you guys gotta help Soul out. He can't do any of the cool things with his points if he's spending all of it to get these community streams for you guys.
All right. But he can't buy nothing. He can't do hats. He can't do questions. He can't do our own voice ban. So funny enough, I was talking with Vixia about it, and apparently we have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I for someone who is friends with multiple like other streamers and who frequents other streams, she says when she finally actually looked at all the things that people could redeem, she was shocked, saying how like we have quite a bit more than the average streamer. And I was like, wow, I always kind of felt like we don't have enough. Like I was like, we don't really have that many options, right? It probably seems like more because some of them are doubled up, for one for me, one for you. But it is interesting that, that was a weird comment for me that I was just like, I kind of always felt like we needed more stuff to be more interactive. And I guess we have plenty of options.
Okay. Fair enough. Maybe the paralysis of choice scares people away from choosing something.
Maybe they're just not used to it. Maybe most people don't check. I mean, I could see people not checking if they're just not used to the idea that there's anything more available.
I'll say for me as somebody who's like new, even now, like I don't use Twitch like that. So it's a little bit different for me. I'm like, half the time I don't even know what's possible, I'm slowly starting to learn like what you can do for like mods and different things like that. But no, I totally feel it.
Nugget's trying to save up for the bio unlock.
The what?
The bio unlock. Oh no, Hecate. Hecate's trying to save for the bio unlock, so Hecate can't spend
anything. Nice.
I have a really bad glare from this window right here, and it's covering up my actual chat. So I can't actually see who. But let me just move chat to the other side. How about that?
There you go. Fair enough.
I can move it away from the glare. There you go. Now I can actually see just chat. Much better. Yeah, Hecate saving 15k so they can spend that on the bio unlock. And we haven't even figured out. Oh, there we are.
Wow, there he is. Soul running in.
With however many he was able to give. What is that, like is 2? 1?
Another 2k?
I don't even know. I don't even know how much Soul spent on this one by this point.
Well, welcome, Soul. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Yeah, the bio unlock I think is going to be a lot of fun. I don't have it on this laptop, so it's on the main computer, so we don't have the bio below our names right now. But yeah, I thought that was kind of a fun little thing that we could do over time and just show people like
I agree.
Information about us. It's kind of like the longer you're around, the more you get to. I mean, people in the future will get to learn all of that really quickly, but it'll be kind of I think fun for those that have been around long enough to just be like. Yeah, that was like a fun interactive way to learn about us. I haven't figured out if it's going to be random, where we just take a whole bunch of things we could unlock on the bio and put them on a wheel and then just spin it randomly and we unlock that.
I do kind of like that idea.
Or if we should choose, if we're just like, we just pick one off the top of our heads, or if we should let the person who buys it choose.
I mean, if we can do an in-chat roller, I would love it if the person who buys it like rolls a dice and then like.
Thing is, we'd have to come up with a list of like specifically what we want in the bio, because I put a few things in there as examples.
Sure.
But I don't, I guess it really depends on. We'll have to come up with a concrete list of what we're comfortable with sharing.
Sure.
And what makes sense, because that list will eventually get hella big.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it'd definitely be interesting to figure out like what are the things people would want like visible at all times, like right below there. Yeah, the Hecate, you usually do tag team that stream, but hey, if you want that 15K, you gotta save up, right?
It's fair. That's very fair.
Maybe the bio thing's too expensive. I don't know. Maybe 15K is too expensive for just a single unlock. Like, it will take a while to get a bio unlock. So maybe 15K is a little bit much.
Just because I haven't spent my stuff on anything, I don't really know how long it takes to get 15K.
I mean, how many points? Do you know how many points? I mean, I have unlimited because I'm the owner. So
I mean, if we're talking about XP here, I got 93K.
Oh my god!
So I could just unlock all of them right now if I felt like it.
93K. So you could do no cursing 3 times. You could do AMAs 4 times. You could do change places 3 times. You could do a bio unlock 6 times? And then pretty much anything after that you could just like
spam forever.
You could just spam everything else like dozens of times.
With the exception of the cooldowns, because I'm sure some of those things have cooldowns.
Maybe.
Cool beans. But no, I do like the idea of the bio unlocks. I think that's a really cool way to go.
Yeah, barely at 5.3. It'll either be late month till I have 15. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, you think I try to plan these things for like assuming, let's say we have an average of say like 100 viewers, right? Like being conservative, but in a couple years, if we could average somewhere close to 100 viewers, at that point, we'd probably be doing it more than twice a week, So I'm trying to think for like, at that point, those might not be that bad because you have enough people wanting to save up for it that there would be quite a few unlocks over time. Whereas right now it seems almost impossible, but that's only because we have a small sample size of people being able to.
And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think it's going to be the most valuable when we have a decent sized community. And hopefully this is something that kind of, I don't want to necessarily say encourages, but it's like, I know Soul, I don't know if Soul's like responsible if they just happen to know some of the other people that are in our community, but like, tell people about it. Tell people you play D&D about us. Maybe if you like it, they want to come check us out, and then
Soul's quite a few
you grow the community, you grow the number of people that are out here, and you'll be like, all right, let's tag team guys together. Let's do this. I think it'd be really cool if you could like do like point trading or sharing, or you could just like give each other points or something like that.
I think they stopped that because then they didn't want bots where you can just have like 5 bots watching the channel and then feed yourself.
That actually makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, I think I've gotten no, that's still not triggering quite well. Okay, is that better? Yeah, that looks a little better. Maybe not. No, it's not really. Okay, okay? Maybe that's better. I feel like we're still not triggering the microphones properly because again, we're in a different room. We have a bunch of different setups.
Sure.
So everything is just a little different here.
Got some new unique pieces, but
it's just getting it dialed in.
We'll make it work. Yeah, we'll make it work.
All right. Well, I figure we can probably get to it now. I don't think we're waiting on anybody else.
Got a little preamble, good 30 minutes in.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's begin. We don't have the normal setup, so we won't do a YouTube intro on this one, just because kind of more of a casual day. Don't really have all of the visuals and everything for that.
Fair enough.
So no worries, but just let Kage know because I'm only on the one screen today. I don't have chat or anything else visible while I'm reading. So I'll have you let me know if anyone's asking questions or if our cameras freeze. Basically, I can't see anything other than what I'm reading. So I will let me know.
No worries.
All right, so today we will start with one of two. Right now, we're going to start with just the basic Frost Moth, submitted by Hecate. This is a beast type creature. So, starting with the description, Frost Moths are usually found in snowy terrains and blizzards. They are typically seen flying in packs, finding frozen creatures that have died from storms or blizzards. They bring the frozen creatures back to their hive to feed the queen. So almost like flying ants at that point.
Okay.
On rare occasions, when living creatures are found, they attack in a group, swarming the helpless creature, stinging and biting it to death. Stinging, that sounds interesting. Giving a quick little viewpoint. Looks more like an owl face, like I just immediately got like an owl. But I like it.
It's kind of. Yeah.
I'm curious about the stinger aspect, though, because I'm not even like, there's not really a visual for it, so I'm actually
almost like
curious.
A bee?
Right, it's interesting to think of a moth as something that could sting, but I do like this visual.
Yeah, this is very cool.
And I'm already getting, because we know that there's a queen coming. So this kind of concept of the swarm, taking it back to the queen, it's all starting to stack really nicely. So I like that.
Okay, cool.
All right, so moving on to the features. Now, it is a medium beast type creature. It is unaligned, which usually makes sense. I mean, neutral's usually pretty good, but unaligned's basically the same thing. It'll just do what it needs to do to survive.
Yeah.
It has an armor class of 13 with natural armor. It has hit points of 25 or 3d10 plus 9. And it has a speed of 10 and a fly speed of 40. I like that. I really like focusing on what it can really do. And it doesn't really seem like it has much to do with it on the ground.
Yeah.
So that's really nice.
I'm not mad at that.
Nope. Let's see. So when it comes to the ability scores, we have a strength of 14, dex of 10, constitution of 16, intelligence of 12, wisdom of 14, and charisma of 8. Its saving throws are constitution and strength. It has skills in perception and stealth, which make perfect sense. It has a damage resistance of cold. I'm actually really surprised that's not an immunity. Condition immunity. It is immune to being blinded.
Interesting.
Senses, it has passive perception of 12. It does not know any languages, and it is a CR1.
Okay.
So CR1's fine for me.
I'm surprised at this strength over dex.
The skills?
In your stats. It's got a strength of 14 and a dex of 10.
That's true. Yeah, I could see that being swapped out.
I would have initially assumed that. Now, again, depending on what we end up going
wisdom,
with.
like you could have even pumped that wisdom over to dex. Like, I mean, realistically, this thing is kind of a hive mind in a sense. It's like a swarm. If it's not that intelligent, it doesn't have to be that wise. Like, I could easily have seen the 14 wisdom going to dex.
Yeah, but then you would have both strength and dex at a 14, which again, it feels like one should definitely be higher than the other. It feels like you should lean more towards one than the other. And for me, it feels like for a creature like this, again, it's what, a medium-sized creature, correct?
Medium beast.
I don't know. Like, again, it's not bad. It depends. It very much depends on like what ends up abilities we're going to tend to focus on, like how we're going to go about it. But
I love that it has stealth.
Yes,
I'd almost even say that stealth plus 2, and then
another reason why I think dex should be up there to increase that stealth a little bit more.
I wouldn't even mind giving this something like stealth plus 2, and then giving an additional bonus to stealth when in its favored terrain. So when in icy terrain, stealth plus 4. Kind of something like that. So yeah, damage resistant being cold, I kind of would have expected immunity. You know what I mean? Like I would not have minded an immunity.
Maybe that's because these are the workers.
True.
And not the queen.
Yeah, that's fair. I would definitely hope that she is immune. So the condition immunities as well. So not being able to be blinded, fine. Mm-hmm. I'm not really upset about that one, but
a quick note from Hecate. He says that he did the strength higher because the full lore is they make their hive out of dead logs and huge rocks.
Oh, so they have to have the strength to be able to move them. Yep,
that's kind of cool. I'm kind of down with that. I'm kind of down with that.
Really, realistically, you can even split this into a third, where you have like the hunters, the workers, like the builders, and then you have the queen. So sure. So yeah, I'm not upset with this. I'm not saying that it needs more, but yeah, I mean, cold resistance for sure, minimum. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, there's nothing it really needs. I mean, it's a basic CR1 creature, you know what I mean? And you're going to expect to see these in a group. Actually, that is something that I wouldn't mind seeing in this. It is something that's, I don't know if 5th edition has this in any of their monster manuals, but it is something that's very common in 2nd edition monster manuals. Actually, let's see if there's a moth here. I'm curious. I'm doing way more than I need to because I just wanted to show an example. But now I'm actually curious if there's a moth in here. That would be hilarious if there's a moth.
While you look that up, another quick note from Hecate says the reason that the stealth is only a +2 is because most blizzard creatures have a hard time to see, and because they use the blizzard for cover, I'm assuming. And so the stealth not being dexterity, you're using your environment to help you hide rather than your own personal, which would make a lot more sense to your point of if you're in your favorite environment or if you're in a blizzard or a storm, then maybe you get advantage on your stealth checks or whatever the case may be to make it way easier for you to.
So I don't know how well this is going to come through, but I'll try it. So one of the things that I really like about 2nd edition is you'll see right there, the first thing underneath the line. And it says number appearing.
Okay, I see that.
You guys see that? Number appearing right there underneath the line. I love that about 2nd edition. I don't know if 5th edition has that.
No.
But I do love that when you look up the monsters in the older editions, it will give you an idea of
roughly how many will show up in a pack or whatever.
So like that one's like 1 to 9. If you go owl bears, it's like 2 to 6 because they usually hunt in packs.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get as low as 2, but you can also usually get 3 or 4.
Very interesting.
So one thing that, again, a legacy item I wouldn't mind seeing brought ahead, kind of like what we've talked about.
I do like that.
When building homebrew creatures, we talked about, and I think we're gonna add this into the ADMG, is adding a loot category. Either something in here that says if slain, you can collect XYZ, like like a body part, a horn, scales, fur, something that it, hoards, or maybe like, even just saying like, hey, this creature, because of where it lives, it has a fungus that grows on it. And that fungus can
be harvested
for something, right? Like those are the kind of ideas that I would love to add. And similar to that, I would love to bring back, like where it says here, armor class, hit point, speed. If it's something that you are intending to be like a swarm or a group, I would love it if we started adding back intended number of appearance.
Dude, imagine because we were talking about this being related to the Mothkin. Imagine you were able to like harvest the dust from their wings or something like that to have that kind of like psychedelic effect or something like that. Maybe put it in a potion, something crazy.
Right. See,
I love stuff like that.
Yeah. So I would love to see that as well. Not that, again, not going to go against the score. Not that this is any like comment against Hecate. It's just that, other than what you could get for defeating the creature, I would love to have intended number of appearing, because that would help so many DMs better balance these things, right? Because if you knew that this thing was intended to be weak as hell by itself, but when you tested it, you're like, ooh, 5 is the perfect number. Say it. Say 3 to 7. Because then that sweet spot's right in the middle, and then I can go a little bit easier or a little bit harder. Because that's usually what I see. Was when I see a range, you usually think middle to slightly under middle is what they're intending. And then the reason why it goes lower and higher is a range of difficulty.
Yeah.
So I would love to see this thing say like 3 to 6, 3 to 7.
Sure.
Because then I know you're intending it to be about 4 or 5 is probably the average. But if I really want to add that little extra bit of difficulty, or if it's later in the game, I pile on those few more based on how the story unfolds. Mm-hmm. So that would be just something I would love to see here, is what would be the intended number, because we did get it in the description that they'd go together. So that's cool. I don't mind that. I would also love in those situations, because we don't see this either in any of the editions that I know of. Well, no, we do. Some creatures have something like pack tactics.
Yes.
Where they work together as long as there's multiple of them. That is another thing, that when we create swarm or pack-like intentions, being able to add something akin to pack tactics for that creature. Like if these had a an ability where if 3 or more are attacking you, they can all take a simultaneous turn, like they all give up their attack to grab you and lift you in the air. So like if 3 of them are attacking you, they can do a move where they grab you and lift you and drop you.
Especially because he did say that they're grabbing dead logs and huge rocks and
even
stuff like
dead
that.
carcasses to take back to the thing.
Yeah.
So they know how to fly. So like just ideas that I come up with that I would love to see, and this is why I want to put them in the ADMG of it, just encouraging people, not to say this is how you make a new game,
Right.
but you know, in a DM section of how
You
to
are
enrich
invisible right now because of the sun coming through the window.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to have this like chapter in the ADMG that basically says, hey, to enrich your treasure, add it to your creatures.
Yeah.
To enrich the creature's experience, make sure you write down how many you should see. And when you specifically have a creature, when you're building a creature that you are intending to attack together, think about the fact that they've grown, they've lived this life, right? It's not just it's like what we talked about when we talked about how when you select a class, it's more than just the things you get from it.
Yeah.
It's not like these things just can do this. They live this life. So, you know, that idea of if 3 or more are attacking you, maybe they all would try to fly away with you, or maybe they would just drop you because they know it'll cause damage, right? There's little things I love to think about, and I would love to just express that in the ADMG to get people to enrich their games more by adding those flavors that the DM won't have to think about later.
Yeah. It's something that they can, it's standard, it's brought to them. It's like, yo, I love that. I can use that. I'll make that a part of what's actually happening here. So no, that's very cool. That's very cool.
All right, so let's move on to these abilities. So first ability, we have Ice Walk. The Frost Moth can move across and climb icy surfaces without needing to make an ability check. So I'm assuming that's for like no slippery surfaces, things of that sort.
Sure.
Additionally, difficult terrain composed of ice or snow does not cost extra movement. I love that, right? Basically just...
Because there are plenty of spells that say like, hey, this ice thing creates difficult terrain, and be like,
yeah,
I'm Gucci off that.
I love that. No changes whatsoever. I think that's
agreed.
Awesome. There it is. Pack Tactics.
Yep.
Frost Moths have advantage on an attack roll against a creature if at least one of the Frost Moths allies is within 5 feet of the creature and the ally isn't incapacitated. I absolutely love that you added Pack Tactics, but like I mentioned before, I would not mind a personalized Pack Tactics for this homebrew, right? We don't need to always use the same one over and over. But no, I think Pack Tactics is exactly what we want to see here. Then we get Snow Camouflage. The Frost Moth has advantage on stealth checks as long as it's in snowy terrain. That's exactly what we said we wanted to see.
Bug life. I love it.
No changes. This is exactly how I would want to run it. It makes exactly the perfect sense for me. I feel like this is kind of unfolding in a very intuitive way.
Mm-hmm.
My only suggestion at this point is make Pack Tactics something unique. It doesn't have to just be that.
It doesn't have to be standard Pack Tactics.
You can make it a
like
moth version.
Yeah.
All right. No changes though. Fucking good. And again, this is just very bare minimum creature. So
yeah.
Actions: melee weapon attack +4 to hit, reach of 5, a 1d6 +2 piercing damage +2, or 1d4 cold damage. I do like that extra cold damage. With the bite, not a problem. And then Stinger. A +4 to hit, 5 reach, 1 target, a 1d8 +2 piercing damage, plus a 1d6 poison damage. So I'm not upset with that. Though
I like the different damage types.
I like the cold damage, the poison damage. I'm not upset with any of these. The 1d6, the 1d8. I'm not upset with that spread. I'm actually kind of glad it's not a 1d4, 1d8. It makes sense because we wanted this thing to be a little bit stronger, so it does have a little bit more damage.
Mm-hmm.
I think my only thing here is that my mind doesn't immediately think Stinger when I think of moths.
Sure.
So the only alternative to make that feel better, and I don't even know if that's the right term because this next one doesn't make any more sense than a Stinger for a moth.
Sure.
But a breath weapon. Giving it a 15-foot cone. So a little bit extra reach, more cold damage, something like that, where it can just, like little puff out. So it's like you get your bite. I mean, I wouldn't mind bite claw because there's also no claws here, and it does have those little things. So I wouldn't mind like a 1d4 piercing damage with like its little like talon thingies. Those because that's how it walks on ice, right? So it like has like little like
right.
So I mean, I wouldn't mind a bite claw and then a breath weapon as an alternative to a Stinger. There's nothing wrong with this thing. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just it wasn't the first thing I would think of.
I think that something like a breath weapon would be cool for the queen.
Definitely for the queen.
I think that feels a little bit more what do you call it? more like something like the bigger boss one would have. Like, it feels
like we
something
mentioned,
more.
like if you made another one where there was like a construction, like an engineer version, or carpenter, or a guard version.
Yes.
But yeah. So I could totally see the breath weapon for the queen. And maybe that's just it. Maybe this one doesn't need a breath weapon. Maybe just a super weak, because it has the bite, it has the stinger. It doesn't need a third one. It doesn't need claws or like another stab attack. But yeah, I'm not upset with the stinger at all. It's very unique, and it makes for a very interesting like lore of these things. It just wasn't the first.
Hecate brings up that apparently flannel moths, I don't know exactly what those are, but flannel moths have stingers, and that's why he chose to go the stinger route for some of the moths. I did not realize that. I didn't know there were any style of moths that had stingers, but that's kind of cool.
Flannel moth and buck moths. There are two types that have.
Okay.
Yep. So there's maybe a couple other handfuls, but yeah, there's a handful that do. Cool. Learn something new every day.
Good to know.
All right. So in that particular case, yeah, I've got no real changes. Like I said, I could see a breath weapon, but I wouldn't make it like huge. I would just do 15 foot.
Sure.
Like a little bit of a reach, because you also think these things fly. So I know that they're more scavengers, so they don't need a distance weapon, and the poison makes more sense, because if they find something it's not quite dead, they can incapacitate it. I get all of that.
Although I would say, I would think it would be cool if they could shoot their stingers. But if they shoot their stingers, then they no longer have the ability to use their stingers.
Like it's a one-time,
yes,
like lifelong. One-time.
Yes. That one, because when you think about, I swear, like bees, when they sting someone, their stinger detaches from their butt,
but
and
they die.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so maybe you don't die, but
this thing could use it that
I think that could be a cool little addition to the ability, has a potential to be range.
It would definitely add a lot of lore, especially being able to say 7 of them attack you, but 3 of them are missing stingers, just to add a little bit of extra so these are veteran attackers, right? So that would be very interesting. So no changes in terms of there's no mismanagement of balance here. It fits with the lore. Everything's very intuitive, and yeah, it all works well. So really, no necessary changes, but maybe a personalized pack tactics, and just an alternative, maybe a breath weapon, but that can also be kept for another one. So, all right. Any final notes from you before we move on to the queen?
I like it. I really, again, it feels like, again, if there was a swarm of these, I would probably be a little scared. I don't know exactly what their home looks like, but imagine walking into a cave, and then all of a sudden the cave entrance gets shaded, and you hear this fluttering and the cave entrance is now blocked by 10 of these suckers. Even casting fireball, they're probably all gonna die, but still. Well, what did their health say? What is 23 for their health or something like that?
What do we say?
That could be scary. That could be scary. They might be able to, if
25, but it's only a 13 armor class, so they'll go down in 2 or 3 swings. But if there's enough of them, this battle will go off. I mean, this is actually very similar to I've been running Vixie through some battles too, because she just leveled up, and we're testing out some of her new character abilities. So in game, she's out with her dad doing some culling of the local area. They kind of have a bit of an invasion of dire creatures where they are.
Wild.
Due to, prophecies and things of that sort happening. But yeah, basically her area is being overrun, or has been for years, is now overrun with migrating dire creatures that are all setting up shop in the forests around her hometown. So every now and again, they, for the most part, they try to do their best to just keep them segregated, don't let them bleed over into the main town. But some encroach, some start to get too close, and then culling needs to happen so they don't also outpopulate everything else and just cause the entire region to decline.
Sure.
So that's what they're out doing now, because her dad basically is part of the one of the militant groups that helps do that. So he's taken her out to train, and basically hey, you learned a whole bunch of stuff over the last couple months, because the level up in the process, all of that. So it's hey, let's go out and test your skills. So she went to a clearing, cleared out 2 owlbears, first, and then immediately got jumped by 3, and was totally fine with those ones.
Wild.
But in a situation where it's very similar, where it's like when you match up like Vix's character to an owlbear, it's like, oh, there's gonna be no chance. Like the owlbear can't touch you unless it has to roll a 19 or a 20 to hit her AC.
Wild.
So right out the gate, it's like it has to crit. But it also just so happens to have a feature where if it hits you with an 18 or higher, it auto grapples. So it's like it has two claws and a bite attack. But anytime a claw attack hits with a 18 or higher, it'll auto grapple.
So if it hits you,
but for her, because I have to hit her with a 19 or 20, if I hit her, I'm gonna grapple her. So yeah, it's one of those things where once she had 3 on her, it's like this could have really been bad. And then of course she had to be smart and climb a tree, and they don't climb trees, so she just climbed a tree and then just started tink, just she started taking him with her. So first she took one down, or she tried to take one down with her bow, realized she won't have enough arrows based on how quickly it was. So then she ended up cutting down a large ass branch, making it fall on one of them, and it fell on them like long ways, and then toppled over onto the other one.
Wild.
So it killed this one because that one was already damaged. That one, it got pinned, so it took like a round for it to get unpinned. So she had enough time to literally jump on the other one with her weapon and just like stab it in the hind legs, like just holding it in place. It was it's fun when, it's fun watching players overcome adversity in ways you didn't think, because I did not. She has so much cool shit. I was kind of throwing her easy stuff because my expectation was her to just like go like all out and just go let me just
wild.
play with everything I got, right?
Sure.
I expected her to just like slash through them with no problem, but she wanted to do how can I do this creatively? And then of course she just was like the first encounter, she got caught one of them in a trap she was able to set up.
Mm-hmm.
So she segregated the two instead of getting ganged up on. And then when she got ganged up on by 3 of them, before they got to her, she's like, well, I'll just climb a tree. And then literally they were all just like circling the tree and just like,
I have a weird question, like how you would rule something in high point. Is snow closer to water bending or earth bending?
Snow would be probably more water.
So
now there is we've talked about this before, where there is the ability when you get to a certain level, there is an opportunity for you to, in a sense, do the multi-classing. You're allowed to get one other mastery.
You're like, yes.
So you can do the combinations. At those higher combinations, if you do water, earth, or earth, water, that combination, whereas like snow and silt and slush and all of that will mostly be water due to its like density. Mm-hmm. Glacial movement would require the combination. So if you're on like a glacier like Antarctica, you wouldn't be just ripping up, like neither an earthbender or a waterbender would be able to like do a wall of glacier. You'd need to be the person that's both. Because glacier ice, being so compact, so dense, operates not like water.
Sure.
But it's not earth.
Yeah.
So a waterbender can control most forms of water, but if you're standing on top of a solid block of ice, you're not controlling. Right. You would need to understand earth bending and water bending to some degree to even begin like glacial bending.
Yeah.
But that's where I
okay,
that's
interesting.
I
mean, the seems true with lava.
Yeah, so lava, plasma, all of those things require you to have, like, lava would be probably more like you could either have fire and earth or fire and water. Because both of those, fire and earth, make lava, but lava is also a more liquid form. So both of them would have, those two combinations would have an overlap there.
Very interesting.
Whereas plasma, you'd need fire and air to control plasma.
Sure.
Because there's no other combination there that's going to give you that finite control of that level of heat. But that does mean that someone who can control plasma theoretically could control the star. Like, theoretically, a fire airbender with enough mastery theoretically could control the sun. Now, can you get close enough? Can you actually do it? Blah, blah, blah. But theoretically,
you have the ability to
sun
affect it.
Yes. Now, I mean, of course, there's the fun part of, well, what happens when a plasma bender meets someone who can open a portal at the surface of the sun?
Cool.
How fun would that be?
Cool,
Just
cool.
be like, here's the thing you want to manipulate. Just step through or just reach into this door and pull it out.
Oh, wow. I could say it says beat the devil out of it.
Beat the devil. Okay, so little high point histories for you. God, I love high point questions. I really wish chat would ask more or would be more interested in like high point histories episodes because, God, I would just love to. That's why I'm like hoping for like an AMA one day or just like an episode where people just want to like just talk about our settings because I know most of that stuff comes out in general when you game, like when you game in your realms, but I don't know. I just like I just like talking about.
It's good exploration. It's very good exploration.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next one. So, in combination with the Frost Moth, we have the Frost Moth Queen. This is the one that they bring the dead carcasses to. So, starting with the description. The Frost Moth Queen is usually found in cold, chilling hives, surrounded by frost moths in caves and mountaintops. They are easily noticeable by their distinct array of vibrant color scales. Ooh, interesting. They're colored. They rarely come out, but will defend their hive until the death. They are hunted by adventurers for their scales, as they are used in jewelry making for nobles and other nobility. Interesting that we're calling them scales. So that definitely gives us a enhancement. And this is also really interesting too, because if we go back to what we mentioned before with the Frost Moth, if you give it an identity of how many you would normally come across, that could give you some lore as to the kind of groups that they leave the hive in. But then you could judge based off of that, how many of those tactical groups, if there's like 7, how many of those make up a brood? So is it 7 of those? So 7 times 7, so like 49 total would be around the Moth Queen? Or is it more like 3? So there'd only be like 20 around the Moth Queen, right?
Got you.
What was that?
Oh, Super Foxer. Hey,
Super
welcome,
Foxer?
welcome.
How you doing? Nice. Thank you so much for
We are
following.
doing well over here. We're doing a little community creations review. One of our viewers, Hecate, submitted us some D&D creatures that we're checking out.
Nice. Just finished up the sidewalk for a campaign. Nice. It was a secret final boss. Ooh,
you got to send that over to us. I want to review a final boss.
Let's do it. Yep.
5 level 17s. Okay.
That's gonna be a long ass fight.
Goodness gracious.
Coffee brewing.
Let's go.
All right. So I'm really curious about this Frost Moth. I'm really curious about the scales, but yes, I think that would be a fun idea is if you give an idea on the Frost Moth about how many go out in packs, and then on this page you give how many of those packs consist of a brood, you could easily calculate the numbers of how much, if this was a boss battle, how much you would have to like fight through.
Right. Okay.
And then taking a look at this Frost Moth. Ooh, look at that. That is so
it's
much
beautiful.
Wow. That's like, I love the contrast. Like such contrast between the, I mean, look at how there's less legs, there's less frills, obviously there's less color, the face is much more just subdued.
Yep.
And then you have this, you have the extra legs, the extra fins, the spikes, that's dope. I love that comparison. Oh, okay. I would love this thing. I see those eyes, I'm just like, I want that thing to have like a glare attack.
Ooh, that would be cool.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a look. So the Frost Moth Queen, a medium-sized beast. I was expecting large. I was honestly expecting the size larger because queens, in my opinion, they always appear to, in my mind, think like, oh, they're just going to be so much bigger than the average version of them.
Right.
So I would not mind if that said large. Doesn't have to be, but I would not mind this thing to be, just massive. Armor class of 16, which is...
Where's the flamethrower for that? Oh, I love it.
So armor class of 16, so only 3 more than its counterparts. But it does have 63 hit points, or 60, 12 plus 24, compared to the 25. So a little more than double.
Okay.
It has a normal speed of 20, but a fly speed of 40. I get why it would be the same speed. I would not mind if it was even just like 45, just a slight bit faster.
I wouldn't mind 50 either.
Even 50, make this thing really like massive. Yeah. I think that would be fine too. Oh, one thing that I don't know if 5th edition requires this, but I would expect these things to be able to hover. Not all flying creatures can hover.
Sure.
But I would definitely expect a moth to be able to do so. So I I don't know how 5th edition handles that, but I wouldn't mind it being mentioned that these things can hover. Just helpfulness for the DM.
Right.
So our stats here, we have a strength of 16, a dex of 12, a constitution of 18, an intelligence of 12, a wisdom of 14, and a charisma of 11. So the strength is up from 14. The dex is up from 10. The constitution is up from 16. Intelligence is up by 1. Wisdom is up by... Oh, wisdom is the same. And charisma is up by 2 or 3.
How do you ping the Discord in our chat? Super Foxer's asking about how to do submissions. Oh, okay, got you.
Or just, I think if you just say Discord, it might even trigger.
Yep, it did trigger.
Yep, I think if
there
every
we go.
time someone mentions Discord, it'll just trigger.
Perfection.
Yeah. We still have a crappy onboarding, so once you get in there and we see you, we'll kind of...
I'll square you up as best I can if you jump in right now.
Yeah. Just ignore the onboarding process. We're getting rid of it. I'm lazy. So.
We're smoothing things out.
So I'm not upset with any of these. I still want that high strength. The dex is fine. High constitution, I'm great with. Yeah, there's nothing really here that I would argue with so far. Saving throws, we have strength, constitution, and wisdom. Skills are perception of +4. Damage resistance cold. I definitely would have expected immunity minimum from the queen.
I'm curious why. Stealth probably went away because they have vibrant colors.
I like that you pointed that out. Yes, that is 100% the way I view it. I just didn't think about putting 2 and 2 together. But yes,
right.
100%. I agree with that. Yeah, I think in this particular case, specifically for the queen, I will say I would prefer the damage be immune.
Right.
I would just 100% myself make them immune to cold damage as a queen, especially because they have scales. Like they're hardier against it. It just, for me, it makes a little bit more sense. I mean, I wouldn't even mind resistance against slashing because they're scales.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just make this thing a little bit beefier. Sensitive, it has passive perception of 14. It has no languages. And it's a challenge of 3. So here's my other take on this, because neither have languages. I would not mind if these things were telepathic.
Oh, like they could communicate with each other? Okay.
Like or even just mentioning it's a hive mind coming from the... Like, I wouldn't even mind that concept of just they have a low latency telepathy and like maybe a semi hive mind. So it wouldn't let you read any particular one's mind, but in general, like if you read any of them, like you could understand like maybe you will understand like the direction of the hive,
right?
Because like the general hive knows the direction. You might get the idea of what they're about, but I wouldn't mind that as part of the lore, is just adding in some psionic, I mean, not necessarily psionic powers,
right?
But being able to say that they have telepathy, because then you could even give it some cool abilities by being able to command, like, the swarms.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting.
And this one's only a challenge rating of 3.
Okay, so that's meant to be not like crazy powerful.
It's not a boss fight, but it's a capstone encounter to like a dungeon or something.
Got you.
So its abilities. We have Ice Walk again. Ice Walk, definitely good. Pack Tactics. The Frost Moth Queen has advantage on attack rolls against creatures if at least one of the Frost Moth's allies is within 5 feet. That's totally fine. And Snow Camouflage. So I will say, while none of these are wrong, because they all match, the funny part is it does have the Snow Camouflage, which I disagree with, because like you mentioned, why, if it got rid of its stealth skill, why does it still have Snow Camouflage unless it can change color? Like,
sure.
Change its scale.
Yeah.
I would just add that in if that was the intent, that it could change color to white to do that. I would say that that's its activated ability, is it can turn its beautiful colors white for a short period of time, masking itself and getting an advantage on stealth. I would much prefer that verbiage.
Right.
Or saying that the colors are only on the inside of the wing.
Oh, okay.
And so therefore, when it's fully closed up, it has stealth, but once the wings open, it's hard to hide. So those are the kind of things that I would do to help clean that up. I also would give it different abilities. I mean, it's meant to be a bigger version than the other ones, and to just say that it just takes more hits doesn't feel good. Not as a DM and as a player. If I'm going to go after something, I want that something to not just take more hits. I kind of want to expect it to be a harder of a challenge, right?
Yeah.
So this thing so far, I'm assuming it's going to hit and do more damage, but right now it feels like it's just a beefier version of what I've already been fighting.
Okay.
So if you're
that's
slogging
fair.
through all of its minions and then you finally get to this, it's the same fight.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's what I mean by it doesn't feel good for DM and for player to get to the end and be like, it was just the same battle the whole time. It's just that one just finally hit harder. So that would be my only thing is add more abilities. I would love like those eyes. I mentioned those eyes like a glare attack.
Yeah.
What if instead of having a breath weapon, because we talked about breath weapon, I would love a breath weapon instead of snow camouflage. Or what if the eyes, you could even do like just a weird specialty where it has a gaze attack that does no damage, but it acts like a cone and creates like difficult terrain via ice. So like as it walks forward, it can just like turn the path in front of it ice as it walks. So it's basically wherever. So imagine that where it's like wherever it walks, it just creates this thing.
I'm actually, especially because difficult terrain in that type of environment doesn't affect them. I kind of like that idea.
And you can add that into the lore, like that's how it, it finds like a damp cave and then just sits there and like walks the walls like in a spiral,
sure,
until it's fully coated in ice, kind of like how they would do like an actual hive.
Yeah.
So yeah, just something cool like that. So it wouldn't like hurt the players, but it would definitely guarantee that it could just create that. It wouldn't, you're expecting to fight this already in snowy tundra, so it wouldn't really do anything, I don't think, to the battle, but it would make it feel different than the regular moth. I definitely think the breath weapon would be awesome here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not mad at that.
And I think instead of pack tactics, which is not a problem, but I think that's where I would put in the like telepathic ability.
Like being able to get like I think it would be cool is if like maybe like a sub action, like you could tell one of your subordinate moths to do something on your turn.
Yes.
Right? Giving it a little bit crazier action economy, lightweight,
right. Or just being able to like on the Frost Moth's queen turn, it can either command one of its allies within range to do a single one of their actions, or it can command up to 3 to move. So imagine that it can say, you do this action on my behalf, or you 3 over there.
Got you.
That just something like that would be really interesting because it would make the game so much more dynamic if all of a sudden, you're going up against the queen and all of a sudden, like on her turn, 3 of, you played Baldur's Gate, right? At least like at the very beginning of it.
I've actually never got to play the game myself, but I've seen a lot of people. Yeah.
So in the very beginning, in Act 1, especially in the very, very very beginning where you are on the ship, there's a point at which you're fighting like one of the demon creatures, and then he calls reinforcements from another room. Okay. And then, like you watch them like traverse like the 2 rooms and through a door, and then all of a sudden they're part of the battle because they weren't technically part of initiative until they entered the area. Yeah. That's kind of how I imagine this, right? You're up against her, and then all of a sudden on her turn, she slashes you, and then here comes reinforcements behind you, and then she hits you again. But now there's reinforcements from here 2 seconds ago.
Okay. So no, I'm not mad at that either.
I think because it wouldn't make it feel like, oh my gosh, I'm getting overrun instantly. It's not like she's all of a sudden making you get attacked on her turn. But suddenly having 3 of them that were not going to be here until next round, suddenly here. Right. Or just being able to like, you take one out, and then let's say you make a dash, but you didn't quite close distance on the queen. Imagine she just puts 3 of them in front of her.
Got you.
Just that's the kind of thing I imagine a queen doing, right? If she has this hive mind telepathy, those creatures aren't defending her. Those are her. Like she's just basically using that as her arms, her shield. They're not necessarily acting independent. She's just playing a giant game of chess. That I think would be a lot more fun for a DM to kind of have. And it would break up I think that would break up what you expect a boss fight to be. Okay. Because a lot of the times, like, legendary actions, layer actions, all of those are usually directly at the party. This would make them think twice because they're like, wait, you can just move your allies across the board? That's not terrifying, but you're going to surround me really quick on your turn. What? So, yeah.
That's cool. So real quick, a couple of notes from Hecate is, one, they said that I didn't use immunity because low level CRs don't get immunities. Generally, fair enough. In 5th edition, you don't get immunities past a certain point or before a certain point.
I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know what the cutoff was. I guess I'm
not 100% sure either.
Surprised. It's just more of a. I never really thought there is a cutoff point, but like once you say it, I'm like, well, of course there's going to be a cutoff point.
You got to be a certain type of power level.
I just didn't really think like, oh yeah, this is only a CR 1 and 3, so wait, what? Maybe CR 5. starts to get immunities. I don't know.
Something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. Then also it says, I kept as most realistic as to the real moths because surprisingly female moths are the same size and same size that I know, and it didn't.
Which is again the thing that most insects, a lot of animals have different sizes between the males and the females.
Right.
So that's, again, I love the fact that Hecate is going that extra mile to actually keep true to this, even though we don't know that, right? I don't know that information, but someone who does know that,
yeah,
appreciate it.
Fair. He said, I didn't want, and this is exactly what I was talking about before. I didn't want them to die so quickly to a fireball, which is very fair because
I mean, they don't have, and that's the other thing. Not only do they have cold resistance and no immunity, but they don't have any the opposite of resistance, vulnerability.
Oh, vulnerability. Yeah.
And that's the other thing. What you would expect here that we didn't mention is there is no fire vulnerability.
Yeah, that's what actually Super Foxers brought up. Is like, why don't they have vulnerability to fire? And Hecate was like, I don't want them dying so quick. I mean,
and that's really true. Like, you could make an argument where the regular moths would have it and not the queen,
right?
Because the queen again has scales, so she could justifiably not be as weak to fire, but
Fair.
I could see why the other ones would be vulnerable to fire.
I would say if you don't want them to die so quickly to fireball, that's where what you were talking about earlier can come in handy. Imagine you got 10 of these things that surround you, right? You fireball them. Boom, majority of them are gone. Now wave 2 comes. Now these other people come out. So now you're going to have to use another spell slot because they weren't there initially.
Exactly.
And you're able to like move all these guys around and do the different things with them. So
and fireball is great, but actually, because fireball is a point you can see, right?
yes.
It doesn't have to be on the ground. Technically, you can do a fireball in the air.
Yes.
So realistically speaking, yeah, they don't even have the advantage unless they always spread out. They don't really have the advantage of not being instantly dusted by fireball.
Right.
So, okay. So yeah, I don't know. For the Moth Queen, I think there's a hard argument, a good argument for giving different abilities. I totally get the justification for the size, and I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at anything that it does. I totally understand the not wanting to make it vulnerable to fire. I get not wanting to not being able to make it immune, but I still want different abilities. Like for me to consider these things that drastically different, I'd want more than the same 3 abilities. I want the queen to either have an elevated version, like even Ice Walk, where this is true, but when not walking on ice, and she leaves a trail of ice, even just, not her eyes, but just like wherever she walks, she creates that like trail of difficult terrain behind her. I don't know. I would like that, and I definitely think Pack Tactics has the opportunity to be turned into a telepathic ability, because I'm 100% sold that I would love, because we don't have the languages. I think a low level aspect of telepathy, hive mindishness would be kind of great for the lore here.
Yeah. And I think that makes a lot of sense for like what they are. And even if it's not specifically telepathy, even if it's like pheromones or something weird like that, but just some way for them to tactically communicate and like do different things and be able to like use what they are to their advantage. Like I totally agree with that. And I think being able to do something unique and more powerful will make this enemy feel like a queen. Will make this enemy feel like, okay, this one is the leader of the rest of these guys, instead of just like the same chump. Like you were saying earlier, like you don't want it to feel like this is the exact same fight I just finished having, except slightly more hit points.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's my hardest critique so far, is just give it 1 or 2 extra abilities that make it stand out, and I'd be so much happier with it. That's really all so far I have an issue with. And it's not even an issue. It's just more of it feels wanting. And it feels like by the end of all of this, I'm just not really going to feel as a DM or as a player that battle was fulfilling.
Right.
But we do see the actions as we have the bite, which has still a 5-foot reach, but it does 2d10 plus 3 piercing damage plus 1d6 cold damage. So that's up from the regular.
Sure.
And its stinger does a 2d8 plus 3 piercing damage, but When on hit, creatures must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw or become permafrosted. Our favorite new condition. And for those of you who have not been here before, let me show you what the permafrosted condition is all about. So permafrosted condition. The creature under the permafrosted condition is under the following effects. This creature's speed is halved, and it can't benefit from any bonus to its speed. It has disadvantage on attack rolls, has disadvantage on dexterity, ability checks, and saving throws, and it cannot make opportunity attacks when a hostile creature that it can see moves out of its reach. This is brand new, one of our favorite new conditions that has been brought to our attention.
Yes. Yes.
Just because it's simple, but it is so on brand with exactly what you would want in that direction, right? We have cold damage, we have fire damage, but we don't have conditions based on what those damages could do to you. Like imagine permafrosted, the reverse part of that is like, imagine you had first degree burn condition.
Yeah.
Where you can't use fine motor movements in a certain limb, or, you know, every time you take damage, you take double because your skin literally hurts that much more. Like this just tells me like we have all of these, we have a category of conditions, then we have a category of damages. This was the first time we actually saw someone bridge the two, right? We finally have a damage that led into a condition that made sense. Because you only just have like, oh, okay, I took fire damage, but like we've talked about this before, where we wanted to add this into the ADMG is the bleed mechanic, or that would be in the HP, right? Because you have slashing and piercing, but when you get stabbed, you bleed. But there is no fall off issue of continuing to bleed in 5th edition, right? Same thing with this. If you get cold enough, you're going to have things like frostbite. Why isn't frostbite a condition? Like it should go cold damage, permafrosted condition. And then there should be a third version, which would be, I just said it. Damn it, brain.
You talking about bleed, or are you talking about
no, with permafrosted? Because you would just you would take cold damage.
Oh, frostbite.
But then enough would make permafrosted condition, and then enough of that would then go into frostbite condition, which would be like you're incapacitated, and you would start to lose life. And if you're not recovered in time, you can lose a limb or something, right? Like just the idea that those things should compound. I like that idea, right? Like there's bludgeoning damage, but why isn't there like a fracture condition? Where for a set number of time, you're at half speed because you fractured. It's not a broken bone, but it's a fracture. You know, you have disadvantage on attacks because you fractured an arm. You have disadvantage on your A, or you have a lower AC because you have disadvantage on your shield arm, or you can't walk very fast because and then you could turn that into a broken bone later, right? You could get the broken bone condition, where now you're just like XYZ kind of incapacitated. So I love this because it really reminded me that that's what's missing. Those are the things that I used to add in High Point, those like in between conditions. They were not codified. They were just situational. I loved that we got this to finally have the beginnings of a codification to say, wow, we can actually make these conditions, bridge between condition and damage type. And the why you got that condition, because you have poison condition, right? But you don't have like a poison attack. You do, but like, you get poisoned, but there's no real bridge between something that does poison damage and poisons you. You either get poison damage or
it's usually not both. I've seen it sometimes where it's both, but usually it's one or the other. And I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
So I love this. So that happens with the Frost Moth Queen. I'm totally down for that. So let's see here. So that's what its actions can do with its stinger. Its stinger can permafrost you. I mean, hell, at this point, I wouldn't mind the stinger. Just again, making this more powerful. I wouldn't have minded the stinger being normal, just with increased poison damage, and then giving it a breath weapon that's permafrost. Like its breath weapon can do permafrost.
Oh, yeah.
Or giving the queen a melee attack that does frost damage, because all those arms, right? Imagine those arms can slash at you. And So a couple of different options here. Again, nothing is wrong with this. That this is fine. It's not. I won't call it imbalanced, but I will say overall the combo feeling is unfulfilled.
Okay.
I just don't think there's enough difference in the Frost Queen or the Frost Moth Queen to really give me that feeling of when this battle's over, when this encounter's over, when I leave this dungeon, this cave, whatever I'm doing, I don't know I'm going to be like recounting this adventure. I don't think I'm gonna be like, oh man, remember, like you might be like, man, remember all those moths? Like, remember we got swarmed? But I don't think you're gonna be like, oh my God. And then when we fought them, do you remember when the queen came out?
Right.
And that's like, not every battle has to be one for the memories. But when you have a 2-stage battle like this, the way that we're interpreting it, because we are taking these as a pair.
Sure.
When I think of a 2-stage battle, I want that second stage to be more memorable than the first. If I walked out of this and my only memory is just being swarmed by moths and one was just slightly more powerful, that's fine. But that's just going to be a battle, right? Like that happens if you get attacked by a bunch of wolves and one's a dire wolf, right? And that's kind of what this feels like. But if this thing came out and could do something that I've never seen before, it could move its allies across the battlefield or had a different ability, I think that would make this overall encounter stand out to where you would be like, man, those moths when they swarmed us, that was a bitch. But man, when the queen came out, I wasn't expecting XYZ.
Got you.
It doesn't have to be the story of a lifetime. It doesn't have to be the combat of the campaign.
So there's another note from Hecate. He says, in my world, most creatures that are very much similar, if they are most creatures that are very much similar if they are together. So my players know what to kind of expect, but that's because I made it for my world mainly so that they can be used by others. Gotcha. Okay, so personal lore-wise, in your setting, this makes the most sense because this is how everything progresses. Sure.
It's the most consistent of all of the creatures that your players would normally come across. However, this is also the best bridge to also make it not setting specific.
Yes.
Not so much that no one can use it. So that's why it may feel weaker than other builds simply because it's connected. OBS Studio connected. Okay, we keep popping in and out and I can't tell what's going on or why. Like it's not giving me a reason why this is happening.
Let me see if I can refresh this. Oh, I saw us again for a second.
Maybe we have 0 viewers. I mean, it says we're live. We have 0 viewers. That's fine.
I mean, we still got people posting in chat.
All right. Well, okay. So I will try to end this because we're obviously having some issues. So yeah, we will try to end this really quickly. But yeah, so I really like this. I think this gives a lot of unique perspectives. I think that this gives us a lot to reconsider when it comes to multi-builds. Like when you think of the evolution of a creature, right?
Yes.
That's what this really helps me reconsider is the evolution of when you want to create a multi-encounter or when you just want to create the evolution of a creature in a homebrew. This is great. This is a shining example of how you can create something in your realm that is specific for you, but also create something that makes sense without it having to be a cornerstone to the game, right?
Yes.
You don't have to go to a monster manual and pick out a mundane creature because it's going to be a mundane fight. You can create a mundane creature for a mundane fight.
Exactly.
And that's what we like to promote is this ideology that we can absolutely do that. Can we get a ban on that?
Yep.
Wasn't you? It was Twitch that had a spike. Really? I wonder what happened. Who went live? Mr. Beast go live or something? So Twitch had the issue. Fantastic. Well, that's lovely.
Amazing.
Oh, we're back at 9. Wow, shit. We went up to 9 viewers suddenly. Wow, that's awesome. I don't know why, but that's cool. So I think that this is a great example of not creating something that has to be a game changer, not creating something that has to be overtly memorable.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked about that too before.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it also just shows, I think it's just a perfect example of how you can make something fit. Like, what this reminds me of? The Buff-A-Goat. This reminds me of my Buffalo.
Actually, yeah, that's
because
very fair.
that's one of my more codified mundane creatures that I created simply to fit in my setting. But I could probably draft up the Buffalo, and that could be used by anybody. But it was one of those things I made for a mundane encounter, and it was memorable, but only because it was unique, not because it was like you guys didn't almost die.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like you learned something new about the game. It was just a weirdly specific creature. New about the game. You know, I hope you submit, please, Super Foxer. If you are interested,
not only one, but I think two.
Jeff.
They're like, if you like this, so I haven't got a chance to like read it, but
well, and just so you know, Foxer, anybody that's new first time submitters, and especially first time viewers, we always try to cycle you in, so you will probably see a review for yourself in the next week or two.
Yes.
If we can't get it in by next Monday, just due to our own personal schedules, it will guaranteed be by the next Monday.
So you can't redeem first because we theoretically started a new stream. I see you trying to be slick over there. Wild.
Oh, that's hilarious though. That's funny as fuck. All right. So I like I said, I
did it. I won.
I think that it's a great example of how you can make one for yourself. And like I said, this is very much reminds me of the Buffalo. You making a mundane creature for a mundane encounter is great because it can still be memorable without being deadly. Right,
yeah.
Without being world changing, it can still be memorable, and I think that this is the right direction. This is exactly how you want to begin it. My own, like I said, my biggest suggestion is just make the transition from the moth minions to the queen. Just the permafrost isn't enough.
Yes.
Like the permafrost and the extra damage and the extra life, it's just not enough for me to feel like this is a 2-stage battle.
Sure.
And that's all I'm asking for. Is just do something to
give
make
me
the
a
Moth Queens
more
sound or feel like they are a step above, not just stronger. Because the way this reads, this just looks like a moth versus like a worker bee versus a carpenter bee, or a worker bee versus like the attacker bee.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like. I still feel like there's another. There's that. It's just like these are the things I would get at the front door.
If you're looking at like hierarchy, it's like recruit versus sergeant, not like captain, right?
Exactly.
Like if you want the captain, if you want the top, if you want general, if you want the scary, not necessarily like big boss, but like you're still like. Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying, and I think you're right. I think there's room for that, even if it's just like one small ability. One thing that nothing else can do.
Dude,
like
imagine can you imagine this like with pack tactics? It already gets the advantage, but imagine if you had something in there where it has like a different pack tactics where like say not only does it get advantage, but on a crit, all adjacent allies to the target also get an attack. So imagine like you have like 3 of it around you and it gets advantage. But let's say the queen.
Well, like crits. They use their reaction to attack.
Like yeah, like the queen will crit, and then all of a sudden it's like a domino effect. The queen crits, and then do like all of the enemies around you get like a free swipe, just like something dumb like that.
That would be kind of slick.
Just something to like I said, just to when you walk away from that battle, you knew that it was like okay, it changed once we got to the queen. Doesn't have to make them die. Like you don't have to bring them to the brink of death. It doesn't have to be close to a TPK. Just something that you're just like, that was different. And wow, okay. I fought a queen. I deserved that.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's my only critique because everything else follows through. I love the consistency. Yeah, I do not mind this at all. Damn.
Yeah. It's hard out here.
It's like it has all of the right things. It's only going to not be a 10 primarily because the queen just doesn't feel enough different for me to justify a full on I want to take all of this. And I'm honestly having a hard time justifying it because I did bring up the fact that I do have similar things like the Buffalo, like these non intense, like mundane more encounters. So it's like I'm trying to like judge out, because again, the inspiration would be like, does it inspire me to add to high point what I don't already have? And that's where it's like I'm hard.
Sure.
I already kind of have the idea of mundane. I just don't codify them. So, but there are no other changes. So I think Hecate, we're going to give this a solid 8. The only things is just it's not going to get the full inspiration point for me because I do this, but it is the one thing I want to highlight is this is what I want everyone else to be thinking of is mundane creations are okay. And they can be just as impactful. You know, you can make a mundane magic ring that is impactful to the game, even though it's not like the end all be all.
Right. Right.
Like giving a party that when only one person or when no one has dark vision, giving one person a ring of light where you can just cast light in front of you.
Okay.
Is a game changer. But it's the most mundane of all things. It's a fucking flashlight. You literally just gave them a flashlight. But when you don't have to carry a torch, when you don't have to keep that quality, when it's infinite, when it's benefits everybody in the group, like something mundane can honestly feel great if used in the right way. And same thing with encounters. You can make an encounter feel impactful without it ruining the pace of the game or without making the players feel like they struggle.
Yeah.
So yeah, solid 8, simply because I think that this is a shining example of what everybody should be considering, because we all want to make the big grandiose BBEG fight. We all want to make the generals. We all want to make all of that really impactful and really memorable to the campaign, to the setting, to the story. But sometimes we forget to fill in the small details that make the world feel real. Like it's easy to just always throw when you want a mundane fight, it's easy to just say direwolf or a pack of wolves or something, an owl bear. But when I threw that buffa goat at you, it wasn't because I just wanted you to have a mundane but unique experience. You were in a very unique area. So I couldn't throw anything at you.
I will say
made
this.
The most sense.
This for me has nothing to do with what you presented, but it's because that was one of the first fights I had ever been in all of D&D. So I didn't know what a standard anything is. So as far as I know, buffa goats are standard just as much as an owlbear is standard, right? I had no idea what I was supposed to be. So for me specifically, it was just, hey, I guess we're fighting buffa goats. Let's go. Let's go kill them, But no, I totally agree with you, and I totally get what you're saying. So that's super duper cool. I'm very excited to see where we end up going with all of this. So it'll definitely be yeah. But an 8 out of 10, that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all.
I think it's 100%. It's a good shining example. And I love it. I would use something very similar to this, like in High Point. Like I said, I would have to make some adjustments, but everything else seems pretty good on it. So Hecate, I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope you enjoyed the score.
Yeah.
What does that bring Hecate's average up to?
Their average is now at a 7. A 7.
Very nice. Racking it up.
Yeah.
There. And then I don't know if you will be able to confirm whether you can dedicate enough time to formatting the new submissions for next Monday, or do you want to give yourself...
It's not going to be next Monday because we already have next Monday on the schedule.
Got you, that's right.
But I will be setting them up for the one after that.
Gotcha.
So
Super Foxer, not next Monday, but the week after, you will be
I can look at my little... It's going to be on the 26th, not the 19th. The 26th.
So I'll have you slotted in there. And just to kind of get, we'll go over this as well on your first review, because we usually go over all of the rules. But I think you'll be flipping once we start seeing what we have. I'm exported to it. So, but
that might be. Yeah, that might be next week. Yeah, I can figure. Yeah, that is next week. Because today's the 19th.
Today is the 19th.
I was thinking that I already had put out what we were doing next week, but no. Yeah.
Okay, so it might be next week. So if nothing gets in front of the schedule and Kage has no hiccups on the formatting, next Monday.
Yeah.
Be back next Monday.
Dude, I'm really excited. I hope you come back and check us out. And I saw that you posted in chat that it looks like the leaderboard is blank right now. I will have to look into that and make sure that it's published properly. But I'll get that updated so that you can take a look at all the other stuff. But regardless, we have our VODs channel where you can go back and look at all of the stuff that we've done in the past. We've got a whole playlist of just our community creations, homebrew review stuff. So go check it out, see what some of the other stuff we've done. We've got some really cool creations in there. And again, none of them are ours, are all coming from our community. So it's very cool.
5 a.m. Are you in Germany or thereabouts? That sounds like Hoilepa's time.
Oh, actually, yeah.
I posted the main one you want us to see and then the folder with all of them. Okay, so the main one that we'll do first and that. Oh, Spain. Okay.
Spain, very cool. Cool.
Same side of the world. We have a German viewer named Hoilepa who will join us every now and again. So I was like, yeah, that sounds about the time that Hoilepa ends up joining. So it's either really early in the morning or like extremely late at night if I'm
exactly
game days. But yeah, so if you are interested, you can join us next Monday. We will do a review. If you miss it, we will always have it available on our VODs channel. We also have a main channel if you want to see some more edited content. And I know it's pretty early for you, but we'll go over this next week as well when we do your review. But the process is pretty simple. We don't we don't call ourselves experts. We don't pretend to be better than anybody else. The whole point of the review process is to give viewers in our community an opportunity to share what they have created, and we want an open space for people to be confident in what they've made. And the review process for us is just more of giving our opinion, our gut reaction, because it's the first time we see it, so we don't pre-read any of this. Give our viewpoints as DMs, as players, what we like, what we dislike, what we expected from it. And that score at the very end is it's not meant to be like a value score. It's out of 10, but it's not meant to like judge how good something was. That score is what I call a compatibility score. So it's how compatible is the item to my setting of high point. So a 10 out of 10 basically means I'm going to use it. Like I'm going to use that. It needs to belong.
I'm stealing that mess.
And I would transition. I think we've only had a handful of those. But then everything else below that is just taken off based off of other aspects, right? Does it, there's a point for, does it inspire me? Whether or not I take the item itself, but does it inspire me to do something that I haven't done before in high point? There's points taken off for balancing issues and how many things we feel like it would need to feel complete. Points taken off if it's nothing new, right? If it's just like a reflavor or a reskin of something we've seen before, and things like that. The more I'm unable to use it, and the more I would have to change, is what brings down the score. So, like I said, it's more of a compatibility. It's not really a ranking, but it's not meant to make people feel bad. It's really just to give new ideas, give alternative ideas, or if if someone hears our review and at the end of it they're like, nah, I don't care what you guys said. You've just proven that what I wrote was correct. That's even fine with us too. Like, we're not here to tell you what you should do. We're just here to give ideas and hope to bring you to your conclusion that you'll be confident in. So,
100%.
Yeah. So that's kind of what the review process is. So if that sounds cool, we would love to have you. We stream every Monday and Friday. So Mondays are always homebrew review. We always take something from the community that's been submitted to us, and we do exactly what you saw here today. And Fridays are kind of a mix up. So sometimes we'll do a history of episode where I'll do a deep dive into a topic and I will break it down from every edition. So we've done like the history of action economy, the history of spell casting, the history of leveling up, the history of XP. But basically what I do is I just go through how each edition handled it, how they incorporated it, and how it affected the game. We'll also do other specialty series. So we have one called Pop Culture Builds, where we have the community give us a pop culture icon from movies, TVs, comics, and we create them in D&D. We've done Alucard and Shazam.
Yeah.
We also have subletting subclasses. One of my creations where we take an established subclass. We took the Echo Knight first.
Yes, and that was very cool.
And we take its lore and its abilities and we transform them into a different subclass. So we took the Echo Knight and we made the Echo Stalker, which was a rogue class.
Yes.
We took the Rune Giant, which is a fighter subclass, and we turned that into a warlock.
Yeah, that was very cool.
So we have a couple different series there. Fridays we kind of just do something new. We're currently doing a development stream these Fridays right now for a new series that we're going to do called One Shot Rivals. And it is a gaming with chat. We're going to have chat be able to participate, and you in the community, you in Twitch chat will be able to basically have a D&D style Marvel Rivals type of game live on stream. So we're developing that right now as our Friday streams. But yeah, we just kind of cycle through, and then we have a community stream every month that you guys can join. If you notice the thing on your screen, you can join that. And then every month we do an extra stream where it's completely chosen by chat. Chat does all the voting. They tell us what topic it is, and then we just do one a free day that's like usually like 5 or 6 hours. Yep. Cool. Do we know Chrono Trigger? I do know Chrono Trigger.
So familiar.
Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross.
Is that a game?
Yes. Old PS1 games. So
that wild.
I don't know if Vixie is watching right now. Because Vixie and I, my wife, we love that series. But to be completely honest, it's been so long, I always forget which game I prefer. And the only way I can remember is that my wife and I both like the opposite.
The one
likes Trigger, one likes Cross.
Got you.
And I can't ever remember because I think I'm Chrono Trigger and I think she's Chrono Cross, but it could be the other way around.
Okay.
So
wild, very interesting.
But apparently we will, if we like Chrono Trigger, then we will really very much like what they did in this build. So I'm really curious what that means, because there's a couple things I remember about Chrono Trigger. So I'm really curious if that's going to be more like the Denomancy aspect, like the Chronomancy, or there's so many things in that game. I'm really curious, but I'm excited. So thank you so much for submitting. Thank you for joining and being part of the community. We are
can't wait to see you next week.
We're very happy to have you. And we love when people come in and feel encouraged to submit that quickly. Like it means a lot to us, because it means that we're, at least we're providing an open environment where people are like, yeah, I want to be part of this.
Exactly.
Yes. Soul, Sentience. When was Soul's Sentience review?
Sentience.
Was that supposed to be next Monday? Is that why you were considering? Is that why you were thinking it's not supposed to be for another 2 weeks? Because you did say we had something on Monday's schedule.
Yeah,
I don't know, guys. So just so you all know, by the way, if you guys ever have any questions about the schedule, please direct them to Kage. He handles the entire schedule. He handles the submissions, the formatting. I basically completely, for like over a year now, completely taken a step back. I know nothing. I literally show up on Mondays. He gives me a link, and that we just start.
We pop that link open and we start messing with it. So
if you ever have a question on what's coming up or any of the leaderboard questions, please direct them to him. He is the mastermind behind all of that.
So yes, Soul, you were originally slotted to be on the 26th. The way that I try to do things is I use our schedule channel. Every Monday after I'm done with stream here, I do my best. Sometimes I forget, obviously, but I do my best to make sure I post in here what is coming up the next week. And that way everybody knows that, hey, you got a week if you want any updates, if you got anything, and you know that your review is going to be in the next week. If we get any submissions prior to that are brand new submissions, I want to make sure that they don't wait like a significant period of time before they actually get to see their review. So I will do my best to get them in on the next one that hasn't been posted on the schedule. So because we're reviewing the Frost Moth today, it would be next week that we would see what we have received by our what we just received today. The Lord, what did we call it? What was it? Magnus, the ultimate Dark Lord, is what this thing is called.
A patron, or is that just like what is that?
I'm the way it's laid out. It kind of looks like a creature. So It looks like the way they were talking about it's like a boss creature. Now again, I don't know what CR, what lever, Magus, not
Magnus.
Okay,
Magus. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so, it definitely sounds interesting.
Very much so. But again, I really want you to review the Sentience, because I know like there's a little piece that I've removed that gives a little bit more indication of what it is. Yeah, it is a race.
Okay.
It is a playable race by players.
Interesting.
And so I really want you to go in very blind as to what
I
this is. So that's why it's just called Sentience. But yes, so Soul, if you are okay waiting one more week for your Sentience review.
How many reviews has Soul gotten? I mean,
I can actually tell you exactly how many reviews Soul has so far.
But hey, you know what? It's not like this is new to anybody. We're always very open about the fact that brand new submitters always get priority. Like,
yes,
that's always something that we've been open about. And then you just go right back into the
Soul has had
cycle.
3 items reviewed already and 8 total submissions that they've given us.
That's what I'm telling you, Super Foxer. Like, do not be shy. Who submitted the most? I remember at some point someone gave us like a catalog.
Yes. So
I don't even know how.
A couple of people.
Many,
first of all, it was Pokeniner gave us a
like a homebrewery link, right?
a list. Hecate gave us his Frost book that we've been slowly making our way through.
Right.
And Cosmic has just been around the longest and been submitting stuff for days.
Cosmic just out of nowhere, he's like,
just flinging stuff.
And we haven't heard anything from Cosmic in a minute. Like we still have all of the.
We did get a new submission from them not too long ago.
That's good because I mean we still have all of the shields or all the scales to go through.
Yeah, but again, those haven't been submitted yet.
That's what I'm saying. But we have all of those. Like we know that they're coming, so it's like we have all of.
They're
those.
Around. Yep.
We know that there's more happening in that setting that we don't know about. So yeah, I'm still.
That's a very interesting setting. I really enjoy.
I really wish Cosmic would give us more lore. Like,
yeah,
I want to do more of his reviews so we can learn more about it because that interaction between the final boss and the goddess is like it's so fascinating. He has so much good thoughts and he has so much like detail already involved in it, and I'm just like, you primed us to be interested, and then you just kind of like backed out, and we're just like, nah, I'm good. And I'm like, what happens? Like,
I need to know.
Give me more. So for the first thing we'll see from Super Foxer, just expect him to be strong as fuck since he's optional. He is a secret. It's the final, and is the final of secret bosses. So it's kind of a end all be all. This is if you were to do everything you possibly could in this campaign, this is what it all finally leads up to.
Got you.
So,
okay.
That's awesome. I that might be actually our first BBEG that we review. If that's what this is considered. I mean, not quite the main BBEG.
Well,
right,
I mean,
like not the one you knew about the whole time.
Sure.
But this might be the closest thing to a BBEG we've ever reviewed. Because I don't think we have had something that really matches that concept of like the
I mean, we've had big things before. We had that one skeleton thing.
The duo. The serpent wizard duo. The sorcerer. The ice sorcerer.
Oh.
The frost sorcerer.
Yeah.
And the serpent that it has.
Mm-hmm.
That may have been the closest thing we've had to like a boss fight.
That
they were intended to be together.
But I would say, yes, that is definitely a boss fight. But I would also say that Doroko thing, the thing with the multiple points of contact, that giant skeleton thing, that could also be fairly significant boss fight.
That was definitely a boss fight. Okay, so maybe this is like the second official
But again,
boss fight.
I think you were right when you said specifically BBEG, because those other ones, I don't see them as BBEGs.
Those were big encounters.
Those are bosses, but like when you're talking about plans, you're talking about I've been through everything to get to this point here.
Yeah.
So
okay, I'm excited about that. I am super excited to see what that happens.
Optional secret final boss.
Yes, I do like that. I want to hear more about the lore. I hope we get a little bit more detail when we get that in like the description and everything. For comparison, one is 5 pages while every other one is 11 pages minimum. We'll see how we're gonna go about that, because there may be more there in terms of like, that sounds more like describing either how the fight's supposed to unfold, or there might just be more like background lore involved. Like if it's that many pages,
I will say,
well, definitely
the font's just large. So when I adjust it, so just so you know, a lot of what I do, if you see the format that we had earlier, all of this stuff, I will take whatever you give me and I'm going to convert it to this format. I'm going to take your pictures. I'm going to put them all in here. I'm going to make it look how the rest of these do. And that's how we're going to present it to not only you, but ourselves and everybody else. That's the way we're going to put it on the leaderboard and things of that nature. So hopefully I don't think, at least the very first one, it's the Magnus one, it seems fairly average.
Okay.
It seems fairly average. Like, I feel like it's not going to be too crazy.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, and the only worry is, like, if it gets way too long, what we do is we just convert those into what we call a showcase. Because depending upon the length and what information we get out of it, the only real difference is if they feel too isolated.
Setting specific.
Then they're more like a showcase. And the only real difference between the two, the type of episodes, is how we review it.
Sure.
You know, in one case, if it's more of a showcase where we feel like it's highlighting someone's specific campaign or setting, the showcase is just more of, we're only going to view it from the point of view of like a player and our interest in actually going through that campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it is supposed to be more universal, like you would expect me to pick this up and play it, I'll review it with that mindset of being a DM who wants to pick this up for my campaign.
Yes.
So that's just the only, when we say showcase, the only real difference is just recognizing that, hey, this may not be for everyone. So we're not going to rate it as if I'm going to use it. I'm only going to look at it as if, how interested am I in to play it?
Got you.
And that's really the only difference in those two types of episodes.
Okay. No, for sure.
The Magus, no N. It's the Magus.
Yes, Magus.
No N. I get that, though. I'm particular with some names of my own, so I totally understand that.
Yeah, no, I think these submissions are going to be great. I don't see any problems. I don't think they're going to be like dramatic or anything like that. But yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super excited to check it out and see what we got here.
Sweet. Oh, yeah, wow. It's blank. It is blank, isn't it?
Is it blank for you too?
No, I just saw the screenshot.
Do me a favor. Try and click on it yourself and see if it's blank for you. Because I clicked on it and I can see it just fine. So I'm curious if it's specific to Super Foxer.
I got the published one, yeah. It must be his permission thing.
Again, it shouldn't... I shouldn't need to give permissions for that specifically, but...
yeah, I just clicked on it and you guys can see on my screen. There it is. But I do see... it does. So...
Because that one should be available to anyone with a link.
So it might be... I wonder if the URL looks potentially different. Maybe not. But I'm also wondering... Yeah, I don't know.
I'll work with you, Super Foxer, if you're down. There's another link if you want to do me a favor and go into the schedule channel that we have and look at the update. It will let you know like what review we just did and what one is coming up. And at the very, very bottom, it says, don't forget to check out our community creations leaderboard. I don't know if that link is any different than the other one, but maybe try clicking on that link and seeing if it shows up for you.
Yeah. I mean, if not, just hit it, just ping us in Discord and we'll keep working on for it.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, we'll get you squared away.
And listen, if you have any other questions, I mean, I've tried to make the Discord as intuitive as possible. Everything has descriptions, at least at the very top. And then you can also go into the FAQs, which I do believe...
that link works. Dope. Thank you.
Nice. Awesome. But yeah, if you want to go in the FAQs, it'll also describe a few of the channels as well. And things like that. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ping us or just ask in community chat. One of us or someone in the community will be happy to answer any questions about the Discord and how it works. But like I said, it's mostly, I hope it's mostly self-explanatory. I don't know. It's a lot, but it's just one of those things I future-proof. So
sure.
This Discord was not made for the 70 people that are in it. It was made for the idea that maybe one day we might get to like 300, and all of these like separations will be easy for me to organize because I'm terrible at. I don't like scrolling through chats. I like having each area very dedicated.
This is what we're talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, but we also have a suggestions channel. So if you ever have any suggestions for how we can improve the Discord, the stream, or anything else like that, let us know. but happy to have you. Appreciate it.
Most definitely. No, I'm very excited, especially because I love getting to see new creative perspectives on how to build things, how to make things. Like it's so interesting. Like all of our community creations that we've had so far, it feels like each one of the people that we have has like a unique fingerprint on the types of homebrews that they create. And so like I could almost, without knowing who created it, I could read a Poker Nighter submission and I know that came from Poker Nighter. I could read a Hecate submission and know that came from Hecate. Same thing with Cosmic and a lot of our others. So it's very cool. So I'm excited to see what you have to present to us, because it's going to be a good time. It's for sure going to be a good time.
Isn't it an item? Does it have to have attunement? Does it have limited attunement? It's a cosmic item.
Of course. Oh, it's grand. Absolutely grand.
The showdown really showed that. Yes, absolutely. The showdown absolutely showed off the idea that everybody in our community truly has their own style and their own approach. When we did the subclass showdown with with the Elemental Rangers.
Between Soul and Hecate.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
That was a good time.
Super Foxer, if you do have a time to go check out our either the VOD channel, which has every live stream unedited, and then our main channel. But the main channel does have a couple of our previous episodes edited.
Did we do that one? We edited the showdown, right?
Yeah, it should be on there. So if you want to see a fun one, Hecate and Soul challenge themselves to a competition of creating an Elemental Ranger, and then they wanted to figure out who would win. So we did an episode where we did Elemental Showdown, where we pitted them against each other.
And we kind of want to bring that back, dude.
That was dope. I had a lot of fun crafting that.
So if any of you guys have challenges for each other, make it happen.
Just saw that 2 things that you had labeled as 1, and I guess you don't put 0 because they at least tried to post it. I'm not sure if that was to you or not.
Just saw 2 things labeled as 1. Is Kage the one that edits the documents into the style? Yes, I am.
Yeah,
that is me.
And that's just been an ongoing process because we're trying to find one that works for us. So right now we're using Goblin Notebook, but we are in the process of developing a customized one that's fully detailed out by us, how we want it to look. Goblin Notebook was just the first one that we found that was easy, but that's just going to be for publication in the future and other things. But yeah, don't worry about how you submit it. We don't want anyone worrying about it. If you do homebrewery, if you have a text, if it's just like a text document, if a Word document, we don't care. PDF. We do that for us. We don't expect you to have to follow any format. We only do that for consistency purposes, for sharing purposes, and for display purposes on the stream. We just have a couple of things that we like to have consistent. So yeah, never worry about that. We just do that for the visuals of the stream itself.
Got you.
Yeah, that showdown, man, that was so much fun.
Such a good time.
I'm glad I edited that episode. I'm glad that one of all the ones was one of the longer forms I edited.
Most definitely.
Oh, there will be more showdowns in the future. It's just we have other things that we got to get done first.
Definitely.
All right. So we'll challenge them again. If you have any questions, like I said, just feel free to ask in Discord, and you can just ping one of us when it comes to that. If it has to do with your submissions, definitely go to Kage first, because like I said, I don't handle any of that. I don't even look at them. I don't pre-review them. My first time reading them is when I do it on stream, and that's just kind of how it always was. And the only real reason why Kage kind of looks at them ahead of time is mainly to format them, but doesn't try to read them or take anything in.
It's one of those things where, depending on how you write it up, it can be challenging to present and challenging to go about. So a lot of what I do, and fortunately, because of my ADHD brain, I'm real good at forgetting stuff. I'm real good at forgetting. If I don't make a point to remember it, I will not. So what I'll do is I'll go through, I'll read it. I'll be like, does this make sense in my brain? And it'll either make sense or it won't make sense. And if it doesn't, I'll do it so it does. Okay, I kind of understand what this is trying to say. I'll put it in there, and then I'll leave, and then I'll be like, wait, what did I put in there?
Right.
Wait, what did I say? So when we come to it again, like sometimes it'll be like, oh, that's what that was. But ultimately, what we look at, what the real big thing that we're reviewing is, how well does everything work together?
Yeah.
How well can we put this together? How well does this function as a unit? So I have no idea what the unit's going to look like or how it all goes together, but for a lot of these people, especially a lot of the people that use Homebrewery, I have very little to do with it. Like, that's a lot of copy and paste because the formatting's already there. There's already a lot of markdown already squared away. So I just have to do a little tiny bit of cleanup, but it's very cool. It's very cool. So yeah,
Yep.
I'm excited to see what we got.
Yeah, I'm super excited. This was a lot of fun. This is I love doing this, man. Like it's what we've talked about before. It's love the process, not the result, and the results speak for themselves. Like this,
yeah,
I love doing this every week, and we won't be stopping.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a better setup. This is actually Super Fox. You probably weren't here in the very beginning. So if you haven't noticed, we're you probably didn't notice because you've never been here before. But we're actually not in our normal streaming room. So you'll notice behind me, I'm trying to get my thing here so I can actually show it off a little bit more. So you'll see here that we're actually in my back room, what we call the Misfit Gamers Tavern. We're normally in the Misfit Gamer Studios, which is my main office. But yeah, today we had a specialty stream this weekend, and so we streamed in here. I was too lazy to move all my equipment back to the other room, so we're streaming in here for today. But normally we have a little bit better visuals, background's a little bit different, and the on-screen's a lot better. We usually have bigger cameras and everything. I just don't have all of those set up in this back room because I'm on a laptop and all of that. But yeah, so we do have a lot better setup normally. This is kind of a unique one that you came in on, but you'll see that in any of the VODs or anything else like that. So yeah, it's kind of fun. But we do some specialty streams in here as well. So we'll do like cocktail based ones. There's
our board games that we've been doing recently.
Oh, yep. So yeah, this is kind of an alternative spot for us. But I keep looking over at the preview and I'm like, it is weird because there's like nothing. There's like 90% of the screen's black right now. Like, that's not normal, but I don't have any of my other cool stuff. So
fair enough.
All right. So, well, I think that's it for us. I don't think we have any other updates. You guys are still voting on June's community stream. So once you earn that, we will get the polls out in Discord. And yeah, I think that's the biggest update. We will probably do we want to do another Marvel Rivals or One Shot Rivals development this week, or like do we want to do the characters this Friday?
I mean, unless you got something else specific that you want to work on, I think that's a great idea. Keep a little bit of momentum, keep our juices flowing in that direction. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah. No, because we got I do have updates for you. We will get into this on Friday. I have
for the One Shot Rivals updates.
Yes, okay. I did research and I think I figured out. I'm nailing down. I'm down to like 2 options, but I'm pretty sure I know how we're gonna run the map.
Okay.
And I think I'm also figuring out how we're gonna do the powers and everything too. So, like,
nice.
I can't wait to show you that update because it seems like it's gonna be super easy. It's gonna be way easier than I thought it was. I was kind of worried it was gonna cost a whole bunch of money and do all of this other stuff, but I may have found the solution that we were looking for already. So I'm really curious if we can do that. So yeah, so this Friday, join us this Friday at a normally scheduled time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for more, well, it won't be D&D discussions because we'll be doing One Shot Rivals development. And then we'll be back next Monday for regularly scheduled D&D content. And other than that, you may see myself online in the evenings, or I guess Super Foxer for you early in the morning.
Fair.
Sometimes I'll go live during the week or on the weekends with video games. It's more of a casual stream. I don't really do that as like my main stream. It's more of this podcast, but I do like playing games, and it is nice to chat with chat and the community every now and again. So if you ever see me online, I would appreciate you coming in and saying hi. And I will go ahead and give Kage a shout out. If you guys are interested in following Kage, he also streams every now and again. And he will do development streams, background development or behind the scenes development for Misfit Gamer Studios, or sometimes he's teaching himself some coding and some stuff for his private life and his business. So if you're ever interested, want to give him a hand or just want to hang out with him, I think you try to do Tuesdays?
I try to do Tuesdays. It's been a little bit since I've been able to get on there because I've got a lot of other moving pieces in the background, but that'll be the day, and potentially Thursdays because I've got a little bit more freedom on Thursdays and flexibility on Thursdays now. So we'll see what direction that goes moving forward. But I'm super excited. Because once I can again. The way I look at it is any changes that we make, I have to pass through Vortex. So once we finally get a good idea of what we want this template of ours to look like, we might be able to start putting some of our homebrew reviews out on those templates. I might be able to start converting some of the old ones to the new templates and things like that.
And that'll coincide hopefully with the launch of the website that I'm working on right now.
Yes.
Yeah, the website, we want to basically take a lot of the aspects that we're using the Discord for. So we'll be putting a page for like the leaderboard. So the leaderboard will be published on the website. We'll have like bios for both of us. We'll have like areas for, content. We'll have areas for our settings and, like all of like the characters that we play with and the characters that you might see. And then the big project on the website will be the Oracle. That'll probably be launching by the end of the year.
That's going to be so sweet.
I'm super excited. That is going to be the biggest game changer, not just for us, not just for me as a DM and in High Point, but it's going to be a game changer for us as streamers. I think just for us as D&D streamers in general. But I also think that it's something that if I can package that, who's not going to want that? Like, can you imagine
so many people would use,
like imagine
so many
people
would use
set people up with their own version of that Oracle.
Yes.
For their own website. Like, oh. Yeah. So if we can get all of that done, and then of course, other things that you may not have heard yet, Super Fox, or we mentioned him earlier in the stream. I don't know if we went into any detail, but we are also working on some publications that will probably be launching next year. Probably not this year.
Yeah.
But we're in the development of an ADMG and an APHB, so an Advanced Dungeon Mastering's Guide and an Advanced Player's Handbook Guide, or Player's Handbook. And essentially, these are going to be publications that we do. We're not trying to create our own module or get our settings published. It's more of these are going to be like how supplementals used to be, where they'll be more of a guide on how you can take your gaming to the next level. So instead of it saying, here are specific rules you should follow and teach your players, it will be like, here's an entire chapter on here's what the rules say you should be doing, but here's alternatives that you can think about or different ways you can view how these mechanics operate to enrich your storytelling and enrich your ability to be a narrator, and also just to maybe spice your game up in ways that you didn't think possible. So we'll have a whole chapter on health and what HP actually means. And it won't be like, here's how you should track it, here's how it should, increase per level. But the entire chapter will just talk about how you should represent HP. What is it actually representative of? And alternatives on what does going to zero mean.
Yes.
So it's not new rules, it's just new concepts.
New ways to use these. And to be honest, that's exactly what I feel like all of the old publications should be seen as anyways.
Yes.
Is just a way for you to augment the game that you want to play it as effectively as you would like to play it. Right? It's just like it's a whole bunch of books of optional rules that you could use to play the shit you want to play. So it's wild, but yeah. I'm really excited for what we're able to bring to the table that way.
And don't you worry, if that sounds like something that you would want and you want to support us if and when that ever does publish, don't you worry, because one, I would love, we already had, we got international viewers way early on. I think
that's crazy.
I think we got 2 international viewers within our first 6 months. So we've been supported by our international viewers for a while. So absolutely, if I am in control and can do it, I will 100% make these international. I will not skimp on any of that.
Oh, heck yeah.
But if I can't, I will personally send them out to anybody who wants them.
Sure.
If you, Foxer, want one, if Hoilepa wants one, and you can't order it off the website, I will personally mail one to you.
For sure.
So don't you worry.
That would be the business.
I will make sure that if we go to this extent of publishing something, and I could say that I have a publication on the other side of the planet, believe me, I will make that happen. Just the idea of like being able to say not only I created a book, but my book's being used like in another country
across the world.
Like, nah, come on now. I will make that happen. All right. Well, I think that's going to be us for tonight. I think we covered a lot. That's most of the updates that we have. We'll be back on Friday with some more one-shot rivals. Again, that is going to be a
Friday
round by round, kind of like a D&D style game, TTRPG style with some D&D, like influence, obviously. But it's going to be Marvel Rivals on Twitch. But you, the community chat, or the Twitch chat, will be the ones gaming. We're going to be the narrators. You're going to be the players. You're going to have a map on screen, and you're basically going to be playing Marvel Rivals, but in a D&D style format. Yep. So I hope that sounds really interesting. We worked on it last week, so if you want, go check the VOD on the VOD channel to go check out some of the development ideas. This Friday, we'll be doing more character builds because we did at least Moon Knight. So we got Moon Knight figured out. So we'll probably finish up the rest of the characters, and we'll talk about the maps that I found. And then if we nail down the idea of which one will be good, I'll probably spend the next 2 weeks focusing on that. And then maybe next month we'll be able to run a demo.
Okay. That's wild.
But other than that, thank you all so much for joining us.
Dude, such a
Super
good time.
Foxer, thank you so much for the follow and joining the community.
And the submissions.
And the submission. We look forward to chatting with you. Hecate, Soul, thank you so much for being here. Nugget, if you're still there, appreciate you. We always appreciate you guys showing up. But yeah, it's just, we wouldn't be here without you guys. Like I said, you guys don't keep the lights on, but you are the reason the lights are on. Just understand that.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, we're gonna end it there. We'll be back on Friday, back in the studio as normal with, better lighting, better everything. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I hope you had a fantastic weekend, and I hope you have a good week ahead of you. Cheers.
Deuces, my friends.